ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binaries of all ages, welcome to the show. If you are here to learn how to make characters the right way, you've come to the wrong place, because we're all about making cats, and we don't care if we do it the wrong way. I am Joel Holland, and this is How to Make a Literal Cat in Your Favorite RPG.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, as always, Joel. I'm Austin Irwin.
Wait, did you expect me to introduce you?
No, I mean, usually you kind of like toss it over to me. Kind of like, you know, when you're like, I'd be like, oh, I'm Austin Irwin, and today we have on...
I mean, yeah, you would do that, but like, I said the thing out of order because I was just talking fast and not thinking. But anyway, hey, Austin, you remember that time we had Colin Parker of Timeline Scavengers on the podcast?
I do remember Colin. It was a great time, you know? Good episode.
Yeah. Well, guess what? We have the other Timeline Scavenger here this week.
Oh.
Hey.
Now, who would that be? Oh.
Hi.
Well, I thought he was here. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
It's me. It's James. It's James from Timeline Scavengers. Hey. It's me.
Hello, James.
The restraint at not busting in and just being like, hey, everyone. Which I did anyway, but like...
It's okay, we're prepped for it.
We kind of thought you would chime in somewhere. At that point.
On my best behavior, unfortunately. No. Well, that all the formalities are going to fall all the way away. It's going to be great.
It's all right. No one's even going to know there was an awkward pause there because I have a truncate silence button in Audacity.
Fantastic. Truncate that silence.
We're flowing smooth like molasses on this podcast, you know? Slow and steady.
So, James, you want to tell us a little bit about your role-playing experience?
Sure. I came to role-playing quite late. I did, listen to a lot of podcasts about, actual play podcast sort of stuff before I ever was on one. I was on the, as far as I know, first role-playing podcast about the game Kids on Bikes, because we called the game the podcast Kids on Bikes until they told us that we couldn't do that anymore.
Oh, I remember that show.
Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. And then we stopped it because it became too hard to sort of schedule, classic stuff.
Happens.
And then I have played a couple of role-playing games. I was on a Christmas episode of Myth Takes that Colin ran, and I've done a couple of bonus content. I've run a couple of games for the Scavengers Network Patreon, including I've run a couple of different Marvel-related RPGs for Timeline Scavengers bonus content in what we call the Timeline Scavengers Annuals, which are at the end of the year, and they're role-playing with characters we've talked about over the year. And it's a lot of fun.
Neat.
Yeah.
Nice.
So not a lot, but some.
So about the Marvel games.
Yeah.
I assume that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah. I was.
All right, good.
The first year I ran Masks, which I guess isn't technically a Marvel game, but I did run it as a Marvel game, and that was fine. But it is sort of designed to not be specific to Marvel. And then at some point last year, Marvel was like, "Hey, we got an RPG going on, and order the beta testing version booklet thing." So I did that, and that's what I've brought sort of to the table today.
All right. I kind of have the feeling there was an older Marvel RPG, but
there were a couple I think that were sort of. This is a multiverse related thing. It's called Multiverse role playing game. I think they had some other Marvel more comic related, a little less branded. I think older stuff. That
makes sense. I don't know. Maybe at some point we'll find one and bring it on the show, but this is the latest edition. So fresh, it's not officially released yet.
Yeah. Sometime this year, hopefully they'll take all my complaints about it and put out an official hardcover book of what they promised me and everyone else, I suppose, to be have a bunch more character you can just if you want to just come in and play Spider-Man, they have that available in the back of this, and a number like Iron Man and Black Panther and stuff. And then they promised a bunch more powers and background stories and stuff too. So, more is what we're looking for in 2023, and it's going to be good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is nice. You think we'll be able to play as Spider-Man the Bodega Cat?
Ooh.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't see why not.
Actually, you know what? I doubt that Marvel is going to give us the Spider-Man the Bodega Cat from Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PS4 and 5 on their own.
I mean,
I think we should do it for them.
yeah, I mean, there's only one way to make them do it, and that's to, get everyone to tweet about it and everyone to sort of raise their voices and come together in one noble cause, and that's the cause.
We've got to make sure that everyone who is playtesting this game hears this episode and tweets it at Marvel's whoever is working on this.
Yeah. That sounds like a plan, and it sounds like a good one. Like it helps the world is what I really like most about it.
The world needs more wholesome content right now.
Right. Exactly.
So I don't know that we should do the officially branded Spider-Man the Bodega Cat, but I do think it would be good if we just got to show them how to make a cat.
Yes.
That could fit in the game in general, and they can do the rest.
For sure. I 100% agree.
Yeah, exactly. I guess before we get started on that, I should clarify the game's rules don't matter that much to us. We'll follow them unless it's inconvenient, but we do have some rules as a show that we have to follow when we're working on this. And those rules are, rule number 1, we accept no cop-outs. We're making a cat. That's the exact animal that comes to mind when I say the word. It cannot be some anthropomorphic race, not a person turned into a cat, not a cat girl, not a lion, not a tiger, no other cop-outs you can imagine.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Not that alien from Captain Marvel that looks like a cat but isn't a cat.
No, can't play
Not
as
cat
that.
enough. That might actually fall under rule number 2 as well. Homebrew isn't real. If the rules do not explicitly allow something to happen, it counts as a rule broken. If we come across a rules as written versus rules as intended situation, we go with whichever one says no, because we like pain.
Yep. Rule number 3, if the game includes stats for a literal cat, which, do you know anything about that? Just
As far as I know,
You've got
there's
the
no
book.
literal cat in the book. Black Panther, but again, that's not a literal cat.
they have not planned that encounter yet. Okay,
Not yet.
noted. But anyway, so we don't have to worry about that this time. But if there was a cat, we would have to adapt that cat's stat block to our character sheet.
Fourth off, the character class or background, or I guess in this case, superpower, question mark?
Yeah.
Has to exist in the game's core rules or as part of his official expansion, which there's not of this.
Right.
And
We're
yeah,
too early for expansions.
yeah, and we can't make stuff up either, because yet again, no homebrew.
Well, I mean, we can make stuff up, but we just can't call it homebrew. We have to call it breaking the rules.
That's true. What is homebrew if not breaking the rules?
Well, that depends on who you ask. Because according to some people, D&D perfectly fits any system if you homebrew it enough, and homebrew is 100% legal.
That's fair.
Side note, they're all wrong. The correct way to play a grizzled detective, you gotta play a gumshoe game, like Mutant City Blues. Speaking of which, I need to get a copy of Mutant City Blues, but that's completely unrelated to the current situation. The current situation is we need to talk about Rule 5. The cat can learn any skill available to its class. We once had a cat that could seal away people's superpowers because it worked for an organization that trained people to do that. Oh yeah, that's another game where it would be really easy to just play a grizzled detective because it's like a noir setting.
Oh yeah. Sadly, that grizzled detective, being a cat, would not be able to use their magnifying glass, according to rule number 6. If a tool would be physically impossible for a literal cat to use, even if comically downsized for them and their little paws, they cannot use it. They can't hold that magnifying glass handle. They can't look through a microscope. They can't play video games on a controller. Mouse and keyboard, we'll think about it.
Well, I mean, a cat doesn't have opposable thumbs, so it could not operate a magnifying glass. But with assistance, it probably could look through a microscope.
You know what? I think you're right. I may have a microscope lying around. Genji, come on. We're gonna test this theory.
You'll have to let us know how that goes.
I'll give you the full breakdown.
CSI Cats.
And also, finally, we have to keep track of every rule that we break. Now, honestly, we've done a couple superhero-themed RPGs for this show, and so far, we've not had to break a single rule, because human is not necessarily a strict requirement in a game like this.
Right.
It's very open-ended.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't want to get anyone too excited, but I just thought of a really cool solve for something that might have been tough for us to get around. I just thought of a great idea. So I don't want to tease it up too much, but I'm really excited.
All right. Well, when it comes up.
Yeah, I'll let you know. You'll know because I'll be really excited when I say it.
Okay. James, you're the one with the book this time, so...
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. There's not actually a form-fillable character sheet for this game. Not yet, anyway. Hopefully there will be, because, it's like Disney is indirectly sponsoring its production. You would think that they'd be able to spring for accessibility aids, like a form-fillable character sheet at some point.
Absolutely.
But because that doesn't exist yet, there is a Redditor whose username is Buccaneer, that's Bukanir, who has provided on Reddit, where the Redditors live, a auto-calculating character sheet that you can fill out with details from the book.
Yes.
It is in a Google spreadsheet document, and we've worked with those before. Y'all probably downloaded the Relics, A Game of Angels character sheet. That was done the same way.
Yep. We are no stranger to this format. We're flexible people.
We try to be.
We're as flexible as cats,
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, depends. Maybe not that flexible. I can't, bend over. I can't bend over backwards like that.
We did just get to the end of 6 very strict rules. So flexible, yeah. I'm not sure.
We're flexible with the game's rules, just not with the podcast.
Fair enough.
Selective flexibility.
That feels very cat-like, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't possibly move right now. Or I can fit through that hole.
Exactly. Completely up to our discretion.
Exactly. So shall I tell you a little bit about this game?
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
So it's called the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. Basically, the idea is, hey, do you want to play as your favorite characters from the movies and maybe also the comic books? Or maybe the comic books and maybe also the movies? I think that's the order because it takes place in 616. Or the dice rolls, you roll 3 dice when you're doing combat or whatever, and one of them is your special dice, which if it comes up as 1 and the other 2 are 6s, you get 616, and that's your nat 20. So it's a pretty cool and rare thing to see happen, but it does happen. It's pretty cool. So basically, you can either play it in terms of make a new character, or they also have in this book, and I'm imagining in future books, you can basically just be I want to be Rocket Raccoon or Groot, and then it's all right, well, you just use this player sheet already filled out. So it's making a character. I'll tell you, making a character without this auto-calculating Google spreadsheet was interesting and involved a lot of sort of wait, what was that number? And now it doesn't at all. It's going to be all right, let's look at the next drop down, which I'm very, very stoked about. So it's basically your rank determines sort of everything about how many options you have. Then you're going to select an archetype, which is going to be a fun conversation, I think. And then that archetype has certain traits to it. Then you're going to pick some, a power set, and those power sets have a couple of options associated with them. And then that's kind of it. Then you sort of build your own backstory, the hit points and stuff all sort of auto-populate and stuff. it's a pretty open-ended character building thing for as many like lists and tables and stuff as there are associated with it. Like it does, I made Captain America, Captain Carter, Phillips from Captain America First Avenger and stuff, like, and it was fairly easy to be like, this feels right for them. So it's a pretty cool system, and and as you said, it's still in sort of its playtest mode. So presumably they're going to get hopefully they'll even get easier to use and cooler as they release the official full version this year, hopefully. So yeah, that's sort of where we're at. I've played one game with it and it went pretty well. I'm planning on playing another game with it at the end of this year too, at least. So it's a pretty new one, which I think is pretty fun.
Nice. We are on the cutting edge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think we've ever had an RPG this fresh on the podcast.
I love that. Fantastic. That's what I like to hear.
And we probably never will again, let's be honest.
Yeah. Fair enough. I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. Yeah.
It's not every day you get your hands on an RPG before it officially releases.
Yeah. Although I will say, being sort of in with the creators of Kids on Bikes, we are sometimes like the cast of that podcast, like sort of as a group gets asked occasionally to be like, hey, do you want to play test this or that? Which is pretty cool. Which is pretty fun.
Like just by Renegade Games, or
like by like Doug Lewandowski and Jonathan Gilmour, like the people that like made it, like that came up with like the stuff.
Oh,
we'll be like, hey, we're working on this.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to get sort of have that connection to them and stuff. So yeah,
nice.
So all I'm saying is like, I'm not saying that this might be that it won't be the last time that I can come to you guys with like a hey, here's a new thing, but it's possible that I could, because in the past I've got access to kind of this sort of stuff. That's not me saying like for sure, like caveat, but it could happen. Is all I'm saying.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, and also like I'll just throw it out there. Like we've had plenty of game designers come on and cover their own games at this point. So,
sure.
Like,
oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, you can too, listener.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Listener, give us your scratch note napkin rundown of your new RPG that you came up with at a Denny's at 2 a.m.
Oh yeah, they're like tailor made for making cats out of them.
Oh, absolutely.
We do have a bit of a time constraint here to work around, so let's go ahead and like we should jump in.
Yeah, let's do. So the first thing that needs to happen is picking a rank, which I think is fairly simple. 1. I think 0 is available, but I don't understand why. So I think 1 is probably where we want to start with that one. Oh, the 0 is a rank that's possible. So I guess 0 is technically the lowest you can possibly start.
Do we want to start at the lowest, or?
Let me see if
I feel like the lower our rank, the more literal of a cat we can be.
You're right.
It looks like here it says other players prefer to start from scratch at rank 1. So the book seems to think that even though they include 0 in their table, that 1 is the definition of starting from scratch, which I assume starting from scratch is as cat-like as you can get. So is one of you filling out this form, or shall I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
cool.
I am. Side note, I have a screen share running on Discord if you would like to.
Oh, is it? Do I click watch stream?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, it'll probably start showing up when something. I don't know what I was waiting for. That makes sense. Cool. Good.
So, do we still think rank 0? Do we want to?
I think
up
rank
to
1. I think we should do
one?
rank 1.
I mean, obviously the book wants us to start there. I still like if there's instructions for playing a rank 0 hero, I think that's going to get us like we'll be pretty bare bones.
If you go to the input tab next to the main tab, I think that's where you want to do your inputting, because there's all the drop downs and whatever. So 0 is selectable down there below whatever, and then it should populate all the like. If you see the in the input, it says like you have like all these traits that like you have negative whatever traits.
Yep.
It's because they have this all filled out. You with your ability score points ability, you have 0. So basically, ability score you have might, agility, resilience, vigilance, ego, and logic, which does spell Marvel because they're very cute. And
Well, I'm looking at this, and it looks like we get no points in anything if we start at rank 0. So let's start at rank 1.
I think that's a good point. And you start with 5 points to distribute among these 6 things. So one of them is going to need to be a 0. No, because you can go negative. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. You can go negative, which is ability scores. Average score for any ability is 0. So we could start with rank 0 because it would mean that all of the scores would be balanced, would cancel out. So because you can go from -4 to +4. So if you started with rank 0, you just wouldn't have anything that was a net. Your powers would not be a net advantage in any way. Character's rank. You spend points however you like. In addition, if you lower a score below 0, you can use those points to increase other scores. Right, of course. You can't voluntarily lower any score below -4, and you can't raise anything above 4. That's why they said between 4 and -4. So yeah, it looks like we can do rank 0. It's just we sort of have to have all of our things be canceled out.
All right, but it's the same for it's not just the ability score. It's traits, powers, and power sets. We don't get anything at rank 0.
Is that true for the powers and stuff?
There's a rank tab on the character sheet.
And you know what? In the powers section, it doesn't have 0. So I think that if you were making Willy the Mailman from Fantastic Four, you'd do rank 0 because he wouldn't have any powers. But yeah, all right. So if we want this cat to have powers, then we would make that rank 1.
All right. I feel like we should do even if it's just describing an incredibly mundane thing a cat can do as a power.
Yeah. Well, agility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because at least I think that'll allow us to explore at least a little bit more, the actual creation.
Yeah, we want to go through the character creation process.
But
we just don't want to...
So basically, you're going to... the ability score caps... So we have rank 1, so that's 5. So their ability score is basically based on before you pick an archetype, and then once you pick an archetype, that gives archetype ability scores, so you can increase stuff like the blaster, just for instance. If at rank 1 you get +2 might, +2 agility, +1 resilience, etc. So
what are the all the archetypes?
All the archetypes are blaster, bruiser, genius, polymath, protector, and striker.
What do they do?
So the blast. So basically, what majorly separates them, other than here are some examples of blasters like Bullseye and Cyclops. Blasters get raised caps on agility and vigilance. So if 1 to 4, it says the ability score is 5, but if you pick a blaster, then you can take agility and vigilance above 5 or above 4. Because it has to add up to 5. Does that make sense? For agility and vigilance, you don't have to stop at 4.
Oh, okay.
But bruiser is might and resilience, and genius is vigilance and logic. And then polymath, you'll see here it says if it's a polymath, put the things, because polymath is any 2.
Oh.
And then protector is vigilance and ego, and striker is might and agility. So I had sort of been thinking of a striker for a cat because of agility.
I mean, just based on on flavor, that sounds about right.
And then I can read what it says. A striker hits hard and fast, relying on their reflexes and training to keep them out of harm's way. They make good loners if they can avoid getting hurt too badly, but they can be even better on a team where they can rely on others for protection and support so they can really cut loose. Blade, Daredevil, Elektra, Iron Fist, Wolverine, White Tiger, and Wolverine. Well, Wolverine Laura Kinney and Wolverine Logan. I think Striker sounds exactly like a cat.
Absolutely.
Good loners if they can avoid getting hurt too badly is basically every cat I've ever known.
Mm-hmm. Will yell loudly when hurt, though.
Right, exactly. So if we pick Striker, agility and vigilance. And then the rank should determine... see down there the might in that red box. Let me go over to mine just so I can...
The agility caps?
Yeah. Agility caps.
If we put... I have the rank, Striker, right. And then you actually probably want to clear out because a couple of these things are being increased by these powers.
Yeah.
Because plus 10, plus 11 is not where we're working at normally with.
All right, I see. And now it's cleared the cleared the origins.
Yep.
Yeah. Right, because then you take out the thing.
Is there an origin that we want, though?
Let me see. So the origins are kind of limited, but I think this is where I was excited about. So your origins are alien, god, high-tech, magic, mutant, special training, or weird science. And here's where I was thinking. So do you know about calico cats? How they're female because
Yes.
the color is on the X gene. So the only way to have a male calico cat is if it's a mutant.
We've already that was how we did Pebble Star.
Rats.
That was how we did Pebble Star.
Rats. I didn't see this coming. So okay, back to the drawing board. So
sorry.
He hid his disappointment very well. He thought. Okay, so I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know what the most mundane, like, special training maybe.
Or like it looks like none is an option.
Let's see. If you don't find an origin you want, you can just make one up. Nope, no. Superhero characters. Several origins are listed below. Each comes with a package of traits that are defined later in the chapter. Yeah, it says, and there will be lots more coming soon. So it says you can have none if you want.
Mm.
It sort of feels like that would be a place for if you wanted to pick your own. But if none is an option, then none makes, of all those options, it makes sense to me. Does it remove?
When you select none, then it takes out all the origin traits.
Yeah,
Right.
it takes off all this.
So it
we
doesn't
could
have anything.
do mutant and simply make like the cat have like heterochromia or something.
Right. Oh, that'd be fine. Yeah, I'd be good with that.
I think it'd still work.
Like special training gives it. It says the character's powers come from long hours of intense practice, and it gives it the trait of determination, which is possibly something.
We could, yeah.
Possibly. I feel like special training, like we've made the argument about cats being able to be trained to do weird stuff that cats probably wouldn't normally do.
Yeah,
a lot. So,
do we not want?
So we could do it again. We could come up with some other weird job for a cat to do that a cat probably wouldn't normally do.
We could do high tech because of all the. Let me look at the rules to see if I'm breaking anything. We could do high tech and give it some cool toys, like some cool like collar add-ons or whatever.
The Iron Cat.
Iron Cat. That's yeah.
Sounds too much like a Paradox Pokemon now.
Ooh, yeah, you're right.
Iron Cat is a comic book that's out now.
Wait, what?
It's Iron Man and Black Cat. I haven't read it.
Oh,
okay. I thought you meant like there was actually an Iron Cat.
It may be that it's a person that has both, like that it's like Black Cat gets Iron Man suit or something. I'm not positive. I just have seen it in availability.
That's probably what it is. Yeah. It's disappointing in comparison to the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would be fine with high tech. I would be fine with. Sounds like special training is a little bit of a cliche at this point, which
If we do high tech, we could give it a cat gun.
Mm-hmm.
We could bring back the cat gun.
Cat gun Part 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Mm-hmm. The Electric Boogaloo.
Or maybe, if we're bringing in weird sci-fi tech, the Cat-Tana.
I was thinking the Cat-Tana might be possible this episode.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
I think if we go high tech, we can give him the Cat-Tana.
All right.
Yeah, I think so. I think we could, because I think that we're in the area of like blades and cybernetics, and there's firearms if we wanted to do cat gun, but I think that Cat-Tana is absolutely possible.
And what are the profession options?
So the profession options are criminal, healthcare worker, lawyer, journalist, investigator, outsider, ruler, scientist, soldier, spy, student, or tycoon.
I'm leaning either criminal or outsider.
Correct. Those are the ones I was leaning towards as well.
Yeah.
I like criminal.
I like criminal as well.
I think criminal would be good.
We have established from the Blades in the Dark episode that cats have a high affinity for crime.
Yes. I love that. I love that.
So much crime committed on our podcast.
I think there's a limit. I think you You can pick more than one, but like you obviously don't have to. I mean, like obviously you can pick Origin 2 ? Profession 2 ? But we don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Nah. So it says there's one trait left. Will we have to pick a second Origin to get it? Or?
No, it's because you have. Let me see where it is. It is in. I was just looking at this because I was trying to refresh my memory on. You get an extra trait because it's rank 1. Yeah, you get one extra trait, and here are the extra traits. Because we're rank 1, we get one extra traits of these: abrasive, alien heritage, audience, authority, battle ready, beguiling, berserker, black market accessed, blind, bloodthirsty, clinician, clueless, combat expert, combat finesse, combat reflexes, combat trickery, connections, death.
Clueless sounds amazing.
Clueless, it tends to shut out things they're not entirely focused on. They have trouble on any vigilant checks to spot hiding or invisible enemies or traps. Enemies have an edge on agility to sneak near or past them. I think that
I like it.
Like you could. There's also like the list of extra traits, because it jumps up so much with each rank. It's a big one. There's loner is one of the extra traits. There's like iron will or heroic or gullible or out of shape.
I don't think we can do loner simply because I don't think that a cat could make the Cat-Tana on its own.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And we've already got connections criminal.
Yep.
Right.
So is there like any other like connections options or?
So yeah, you can. I mean, like connections. Yeah, you already have that. So is infamous part of the infamous is the character is widely known and generally disliked, at least among a certain group of people or population, which is kind of a fun sort of criminal thing.
Infamous might make sense,
Yeah.
but like when nothing is going on, this cat is kind of a menace to society because it can just pull out a sword at random times and nobody can stop it.
Right. There's also signature weapon if we wanted to have a Cat-Tana, as like the character is known for owning and using a unique and powerful weapon.
We gotta
have signature weapon then.
Yep.
Cool.
Infamous would be funny because it could be like infamous among the animal control.
Yeah. That's fantastic. All right.
Wait, did that cost more than one trait?
No.
I think you need to zero out these fearless, glibness, sneaky things.
Oh, okay.
Because those are I think the ones they've selected before that.
Oh, I see. Okay, so how do you zero it out?
I erased
Hopefully at the bottom of the list there's an empty like.
No, there's not.
There's an edit button.
There is an edit button.
Might have to edit your own.
I think you have to just delete it
own.
and then pick signature weapon, and then it has a colon here because you need to put the additional info about the weapon.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't know if we want to do that.
Can you like backspace out on the traits or?
Yep.
Okay. Good.
So like, if we want to do the Cat-Tana now, we can, or we can do it later when we're getting into more into another area. I'd basically be going off of like they have Captain America's shield and Mjolnir in the character things, so I'd be using that.
Wait, by erasing the other traits, did we get another trait point back?
We did. For some reason it was at -3 because of the ones that they had put in.
Right.
Right.
Can we do infamous now?
I think that bonus trait is adding into total traits left.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I think that if we added in another one, it would say you have -1 total traits.
So there's not really a way to add in an extra thing.
Mm-mm.
Right. So now we're into... Oh, well, no, do you want to talk about Cat-Tana, or do you want to move into powers and then... Actually, I think that the signature weapon is in these powers. Let me just check here. Because it's like you have to pick...
If it's in the powers, then let's just... Because maybe then we could remove the bonus trait and not even have to worry about...
I'm just trying to see where it is in terms of like building the...
Oh, I see what you mean.
Special...
I say let's just follow the procedure and At some point, it will come up.
Yeah. I think we're good. I think so. Okay, so now it's time to pick a power set, and here are the power sets: battle suit, blades, cybernetics, firearms, energy control, martial arts, plasticity, shield bearer, spider powers, super strength, tactical mastery, or weather control. So a bunch of those fall way by the wayside. With rank 1, we get 1 power set and 1 power from that power set.
So I think the only things that would work is, like, we're high tech. We've obviously got a tech supplier.
Yeah.
Right.
So we could potentially do battle suit.
Yeah.
If our signature weapon is the Cat-Tana, we could do blades.
Right. And then also that works in the claws of the cat, too.
True.
I was leaning towards blades.
Yeah, let's do blades.
I think I agree. Blades.
So then there's a power list, which sort of looks like a... the only thing I can think of is, like, if you look at, like, Final Fantasy, like, video game, like, they'll put, like, charts of, like, how you level up and whatever.
Yeah.
They have that kind of thing here. So our options for the 1 power we can pick, and I can tell you about each of these powers: fast slashes, vicious slash, slash back, or slash and dash. Slash and dash, the character charges ahead, blades out. Slash back, seeing the enemy off balance, the character strikes back. Fast slash, probably just a fast slash. The character's blades lash out. And then vicious slash is probably some sort of vicious slash, and it says the character strikes a felling blow. So I think probably fast slash or like slash and dash are sort of where I'm at, I think.
I like slash and dash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should have, yeah. So then the last, I think basically we're maybe into the power sets and calculate other scores. They already did that. So then pick backstory elements. We did, but now it's sort of like we need to give it a, I think we're at the character is made, and we just need to sort of talk about what this, I guess we want to do Cat-Tana. We want to figure out what Cat-Tana is.
Like, obviously it's got to be some kind of tech, because a cat cannot normally wield a sword the size of a katana, because it's a two-handed weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it could have been trained. So here's what I'm thinking for Cat-Tana, and tell me if you think this is not what you pictured. It's on the cat's back, and it can extend, and the cat controls it with its swishy tail. The tail
that's one possibility.
Goes back and forth. That is one possibility.
I was thinking of, like, whenever the cat extends its claws, like, it just shoots out, since we're in a battle suit. Or no, we're no longer doing battle suit.
We just have high-tech something, so...
Never mind.
I think that, if I may say this, I think we can have, like, a battle suit, so we can have high-tech attached to us. We just won't be picking powers from the battle suit power set.
So, like, I imagine just, like, kind of like a miniature gauntlet that is affixed to the cat's forearm, and then it's triggered whenever the cat, like, extends its claws, then that katana, like, shoots out.
So it wouldn't be all that big. It would just kind of work like a Wolverine claw, except maybe longer.
Yeah. Well, or, I mean, in the Marvel Universe, there's, you know, I feel like there's enough compression that could be done with the high tech that when the cat does slash, it may as well just be a full-size katana.
See, that's kind of what I was thinking, except I was imagining, like, Zacian or that one Dark Souls 2 boss.
Oh, yeah.
The cat, like, has, like, the hilt that it wears, like, you know, like a samurai belt with the sword on the hilt, and it grabs it with its mouth, and when it pulls it out, the blade extends from the inside of the handle when the cat bites down on it.
Ooh. Oh, that's so cool.
This is amazing. I'm good with any of the options that have been listed so far. Frankly.
I was about to say, I like all three of them. It's hard to pick. I was gonna say, I really like Joel's, just the idea of, like, seeing a cat, like, pull out a hilt and just be like, the fuck is that cat doing? And then it bites down and there's just a huge collapsible sword inside.
I think that's the one.
All All
So
right.
I mean, we have to pick a range or whatever, but I don't think we need to necessarily do that since we're not actually playing. I mean, like we'd have to figure that out eventually, but I think it seems to me like with Captain America's shield, it says range 100 feet, bashing damage returns after attack. So like, I mean, range.
That's assuming you throw it,
Right? Range, the length of a katana held in mouth, slashing damage. Like,
I would say like weapons melee weapons in like, I don't know, D&D, let's say. They make the assumption that like melee range is approximately 5 feet.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Monster of the week. A gun with terrible accuracy or range would be considered a close range weapon, whereas a sword, knife, or what was something else I've heard, hammer, I think, would be intimate.
Okay.
So we're looking at a like up close and personal type weapon.
Right.
This cat is going to bite down on this sword and then jump you with a giant sword.
And steal something from you, presumably some sort of like criminal activity.
Absolutely.
Love that. Okay.
This cat is absolutely a mugger.
Yeah.
Someone cute's like cat burglar? No, mugger. I don't know why you'd say that. All right. So I mean, like that's basically it. Like if you're making like the most basic of characters, like you want to start your character at like, wet behind the ears, whatever. This is basically you've picked your options and you hope that you survive the encounters. Is basically my understanding of it. I didn't dare make any characters that were rank 1 because I'm not brave enough. I guess is really what it comes down to.
I feel like if you're starting at rank 1, you've got to start with like some pretty low stakes villains.
Sure, for sure.
Like
Mugger
yeah,
cats
like
and
bank
such.
robbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how low stakes is a bank robbery.
I mean, I guess it depends, right? Like,
Yeah, like are we talking? I'm not talking heist. I'm talking like 4 dudes in a van.
right. Well, what kind of van? I mean, that's a whole other question.
Yeah.
Like if we assume like an armed robbery where they go in, hold like the bank worker and customers hostage while the bank teller or whatever they're called empties the cash register.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're just talking like the most intelligent type of bank robbery where you go in with a small group, steal what's in the cash register and leave before the police have time to arrive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I would say that's not exactly low stakes because that's 4 guys with guns.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, if you're in a group of people, that's like a rank 2 encounter, maybe rank 3.
I don't even know if it's rank 3. Like one guy might struggle with that. A team would just destroy them.
That's what I'm saying. Is like the encounter would be rank 3, but if you're in a group, then everybody at rank 1 should be able to take care of that, right?
The book has an example encounter, enter Hydra and adventure, and the one character you have to face basically is actually I think you face doppelgangers of yourself, but like they have Hydra agent, which is a rank 1, and they're like, all their scores are 1. It's like the most easily defeated sort of deal. So that's sort of where they're at with rank 1. So it sounds like, yeah, I would say that kind of bank robbery is sort of where we're at with rank 1 as well.
Gotcha.
It does list one of their occupations as fascists, and I think that is an interesting place to put fascists. As an occupation. It's like career day went badly for them.
Hey, little Jimmy, what'd you learn at the career fair?
Hydra was famously aligned with Nazi Germany.
Oh,
so.
for sure.
Yes,
For sure.
yeah.
100%. So much. Well, and then, funnily enough, in Captain America the First Avenger, they deliberately they cut a scene where Hydra was going to basically start taking out Nazis too, to separate themselves from, like, we're a different evil organization, but they cut that because I think it would have been too confusing, and I agree with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they kind of made it clear they were going that
Yeah.
way with, like, the Red Skull character arc in that movie.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
They just made it much more like our, mindless drones versus yours. So yeah, I think that's the character's stats sorted. It has a Cat-Tana in its mouth and claws.
Yeah. So, like, even though it's a big sword, it's being wielded by a small creature, so it would still have just, like, regular sword range. Whatever close or immediate is considered in this game. So, like, 5 feet to a couple meters.
And, like, presumably it would be a situation where largely shins and ankles and, like, Achilles tendons and stuff are the things in danger.
Yeah.
Presumably that the cat wouldn't, like, tilt the head. Although maybe, but, like...
I mean, it's a cat. It'll get whatever it can reach.
It'll figure it out. Yeah. Exactly. Fantastic.
All right. So what's up next on our list?
I mean, if character creation at this point is more or less done, right?
I would say
like,
it is.
Did we assign our ability points? Do we have ability points to assign, or did it just do that entirely for us?
We didn't assign ability points. It didn't do that for us. That is true, because we have a net of 5 to split among our 6 abilities. So we could probably have a discussion about, like, what's a cat good at in terms of might, agility.
Right. And do you know where we put that in? Or...
I would still say probably in input.
Okay. It's weird because the rest of this thing is not auto-populate.
That's so strange.
I don't know if I need to, like, Control S this or something.
It's like if you put...
I don't know. It says that you have some ability score points remaining.
So you have 5. We have 5 to use, and it can go down to -1 or -4, and up to.
Is our might too high? Because, like, it says the ability cap for might is 4, but it gives us a score of 7.
Agility and
or no, what is that? A 5?
It's a 6.
Oh, okay. So it's only 1 point too high.
Something is going weird because agility and vigilance should have an increased cap because of us being strikers.
It won't stop us from entering our own values, so we can just, like, put in the scores that we know to be correct.
For sure.
Yeah.
We have 5 as our ability score cap, or our points available for just normal, and then the archetype ability score. Every archetype has 2 ability scores that can be raised above the standard cap of 4. So we can raise might and agility above 4, but it's still like that. We only have 5 points to use. So, we could have agility be 5 and everything else be 0, for example. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Or, like,
So our total score should be, like, 5, right? For everything.
Right.
I think we want a couple points in might if we're going to be wielding a sword. So maybe 3 in agility, 2 in might.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. There we go. Now it's populating that we have 0 remaining.
So we did 2 in might and 3 in agility. Is that what we ended up doing?
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Again, rank 1 is so funny because it's like, that's it. Good luck out there.
Okay. We're running low on time. Like,
let's nail it. Let's go. Let's blast through it.
So we need to come up with a real name, a code name, height, weight, gender, eyes, skin, hair.
Skin. I think it should be a black cat.
Black cat?
Black cat sounds good.
It's the best criminal color of cat because it's the color of dark as the night.
Skin. We can just say cat skin. Probably.
Yeah. And then eyes, are we saying heterochromia? So, like, 1 blue, 1
Yeah, we can still do that.
green?
Yeah, let's do it.
Green.
And you guys have height and weight sorted, right? Like, that's already on...
Oh, yeah, we've got average height of a cat to be 9.1 to 9.8 inches. Is this an average cat, or...
I think it should be a small... on sort of like a smaller cat.
All right, let's go 9.1 then.
And then I got average cat weight as between 8.8 and 11 pounds.
For some reason, we have lifespan and height listed, but not weight.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Okay, so it's 8.8 and 11?
Yeah.
Obviously, this cat's got to be pretty light.
I think.
Agility.
Do you put 9.1 for the height? Let's do 9.1 for the weight. Nice, even.
Perfectly balanced,
Exactly.
as all things should be.
As the Cat-Tana also is.
Gender. I feel like it's been a few episodes since we've done a male cat.
Yeah.
True.
Actually, wait, what gender was Mousetrap? I don't remember.
Oh, that's a really good question, Joel. I think you're right. I think it's been a minute since we've done a male cat, because can't remember the last time we did.
Yeah, it's totally possible Mousetrap was a male, but that was almost 3 weeks ago at this point.
I've slept since then. Come on. We you know what? We can just put a question mark. It's up to the viewer.
It's a stray cat. Who has time to check?
It's a non-binary cat. So, code name and real name is a funny thing for a cat.
I mean, last time we came into this situation, we named the cat Ham. Like, it had people who it knew that just called it Ham, and then it had its superhero family that called it Pebble Star.
What if it has a name, like a normal name, and then almost like its code name is sort of like what it's known as, like on the streets by the people that like are, you know, the menace of the.
Now, one thing, the last game we did had a special thanks to the cats and other pets of the people who worked on the game, and we saved all of those names.
Perfect.
We sure did.
So we've got Ernie, Priscilla, Wanda, R2, Beth, Peanut, Aggie, Simber, Cecil, Onyx, Goober, Lawnmower, Cardi, Nikki, Iggy, Shirley, Lair, Les, Herb, Imperata Furiosa, Ani, Bjorn, Benny, Agnetha, Florence, Meow Yunfat, Stephen Meow, Michelle Yo, Meow, Pierogi, Momo, Tortellini, Kathy, Roll, but not Penzi. She knows what she did.
She does know what she did.
I think Iggy is a nice sort of.
You like Iggy for the regular name?
Iggy might be a good name because, you know, we're sort of undecided on where we're going with gender, and that's a nice, cool, sort of gender neutral-ish name.
I agree. I like Iggy.
And then something like Midnight Blade or...
Ooh.
Is Midnight Menace already a superhero name? Because that sounds like either a superhero or... I'm just going to Google that phrase.
It's like what J. Jonah Jameson calls 1946
film. Oh, it is.
There's a...
Wait, no.
There's a short film from 1946 named that.
Wow, the Wikipedia page is non-existent.
Yeah, it looks like 2 movies in the 30s and 40s, and then that's it.
All right, so we could totally just name this cat the Midnight Menace.
Hell yeah, that name goes hard.
We don't need to call it the Midnight Men Hiss because that's too much.
That's too on the nose.
I can just imagine the news story for this. If you are out late at night, you may already know about dealing with muggers in New York City, but are you prepared to be mugged by a cat?
Today's top story. Today's top story. We're here with Jonathan Jones. Jonathan, what happened to you the other night?
Well, it was sitting on a bench, and it looked at me, and it had something on it around its waist, and then it grabbed it, and then it jumped at me, and suddenly it was holding a sword in its mouth.
That is a tragedy. More at 11 about how Jonathan Jameson lost his hands.
Both of them.
The funny thing about a mugger that
he'll never do art again
is how do you know that you're being mugged and not just attacked? And I like that a lot.
That's true.
If you just give the cat what it wants, it won't attack you. But like that's
but if you don't know what it wants, you have to guess.
How do you know you're being held? How do you know you're being held up until it's too late?
Exactly.
He's just standing there with the sword out.
Cool.
Okay.
Midnight Menace. Love it.
All right. Well, successfully, we have done the Cat-Tana.
They said it couldn't be done.
Joel, what are we going to do now?
I don't know. We can continue with the cat jackhammer.
The cat spade or neutered.
I don't know. Maybe it's just too easy to come up with a thing that we joke about cats being able to wield. Because we know at this point that eventually we're going to accidentally find a game that will let us do it.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. Power Outage, when we did Power Outage, it absolutely would have let us make the cat gun if we wanted to go that way.
True. I say we just we shut our brains off on this one and we'll just let the creative juices flow, because when we come in thinking, can we make the Cat-Tana, I feel like our brains just lead us down the most likely path that'll get us there.
Yep. Although, like, we can say that we won't come up with more, but you, the audience, I guess, before I get into that, James, do you have anything to plug?
Listen to Timeline Scavengers. We come out 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at Timeline Scav. It's a good time. It's a crazy time, but it's a fun time.
Austin, what about you?
Catch me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Twitch at Avalon Alchemist. I just beat Elden Ring for the 3rd time. May or may not be going for a 4th. That'll come later, though, because I do plan on streaming Sunset Overdrive, which may or may not be finished by the time this episode comes out. I'm going to be real. Depends on how much I want to play it, which currently is a lot. What about you, Joel?
As for me, you can find me on most social media sites at Denalo Lioge. That's my name, Joel Holland, spelled backwards. If you don't know how to spell my name, that's just fine. What you can do instead is go to this website called jholland.start.page. I'll bet you can figure out how to spell that. That'll take you to all my social medias, my portfolio, probably some other things that I'm drawing a blank on at the moment. Now, you remember earlier how I was saying that you could come up with things like the Cat-Tana or the cat gun to send us? Yeah, there's an email address for that, and it's literalcatpod@gmail.com. You can send us recommendations for games. You can send us recommendations for cats to make, things to do to the cats, jobs you would like to see a cat do. You get the idea. You can also send us pictures of your cats. I feel like I ask this every episode, and guys, people aren't sending us pictures of their cats. It's a real problem.
It is.
All the Midnight Menace wants is for you to send a picture of your cat, and then everyone can keep their limbs, but until then,
you can keep your hands.
Oh yeah, there's supposed to be a picture of a cat, it looks like, that goes in that slot there on the... although I think that's supposed to be printed out and drawn in.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably try and do some ASCII art if you know how to do that, which I don't.
I got you. And there are
there was a pretty simple one at the top, because we only have so many cells, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Let's go with the second one. Or the third
one, I was going to go with this one. This one looks like
Okay.
it's holding a katana in its mouth.
It kind of does.
Boom.
There you go.
Perfect.
Oh, Midnight Menace, right there. It appeared out of nowhere.
Here he is.
A wild Midnight Menace appeared.
It looks like he's peeking over the player icon slot.
Is it time to unshield the Cat-Tana? I think it is.
Our cat's breaking the 4th wall.
All right. So, back on track. That's where you can find stuff about me. There will probably be a link at the very top of that by time this episode comes out, because Austin and I are participating in a game jam the week we're recording this. Assuming we complete that game, there might be a link to it in the jholland.start.page, like near the top. So yeah, go click that and play a game that Austin and I maybe finished.
I hope we finish.
Yeah, we have a week to find out if we finish it. Anyway, so that's it for me. As we were already on to the show, weren't we? Man, yeah. I'm losing it, guys. Anyway, so yeah, there's our email, but if you want to like just follow the show online, you can find us most places at Literal Cat Pod. Like if you just like go onto Twitter, look up Literal Cat Pod, go onto Tumblr, look up Literal Cat Pod, go onto YouTube, look up Literal Cat Pod. Where else can you look up Literal Cat Pod? Actually, I think that's it for right now. Nope, that's not true. You can look up Literal Cat Pod on Podchaser and leave us a review on Podchaser. Or, you know what, you could leave us a review on whatever podcast app you're listening to. It will make us feel good, and it will also make the algorithm feel good about sharing the podcast with others. The second one is the thing we care about more. No, I'm kidding. I'm still trying to work out some kind of like wiki thing. I think I found a like nice non-fandom wiki source that I'm gonna try out. But as of right now, that is still not set up because I am doing more with my life at this exact moment than I was when the show started. Kinda. But anyway, the character sheets as of right now are still available in a Dropbox if you go to bit.ly/literalcatpod. And you can download all the character sheets from every episode. YouTube channel. The YouTube channel, I mentioned that you can find us on YouTube earlier. There will sometimes be little short clips from the episodes. I've not had as much time to do those recently, sorry. But another thing that I've not had time to do recently is attend the watch parties that I host for the show. I've just not had time on Wednesday nights as much anymore. I think I missed the last 3, and like you've probably noticed if you are watching from YouTube that I've not hosted watch parties for the last couple episodes at this point. That's why. Like I can't guarantee that I'll have the time to commit to it anymore. So unfortunately, at some point it might be fun to start it back up. If y'all would be interested in seeing it started back up, you can reach out to us. We might even find a better day and time, maybe not day, but time to host it, you know, all that. But anyway, I think that's everything we need to talk about for now. We're over our time limit by a bit, so Austin, how about you give us a real quick cat pun?
Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you well on your way. Don't let the cat hiss at you on the way out.
Scene 2. Flashback. Setting February 2nd.
Hey, Colin, I was just thinking about making a podcast where we go scene by scene through the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
James, I love that. That is a great idea. I'll tell you what, see if you can flesh it out just a little bit more, and then we'll get back together again soon and talk about it again.
Scene 4. Flashback. Setting February 20th.
Man, I can't stop thinking about that idea of James's. It was so interesting. I wonder if we could do it in some sort of, like, chronological order.
Scene 1. Present day. Setting March 2nd.
Colin, I was thinking about that Marvel podcast idea I had last month.
Oh, yes, that idea. Oh, I love it so much. I remember it like yesterday.
Scene 3. Present day. Minutes later.
God, we were so young back then. And turns out I've been thinking about that podcast too.
Really? What were you thinking?
All right, let me paint you a picture. It was a couple of days after President's Day.
Scene 5. Present day. Minutes after that.
Chronological, huh? That's a pretty good idea. So, like, if there's a flashback, we put it in the place on the timeline that's being flashed back to?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think absolutely. Let's do it. Why don't we call it Timeline Scavengers?
Scene 6. The future.
Oh, how are we not done yet?
That's my secret, Colin. We'll never be done.
Timeline Scavengers. Assembling the MCU timeline forever.